In today's episode, we'll be performing princess nails, nails that shine like a star. Are you wondering if you can do them? We'll find out soon.
Hi, my name's Connie, and this is a channel dedicated to the art of nail styling. Today's episode is all about those shining splendors, that is, princess nails.
Wipe the nail using a cleaner and apply an acid-free primer. For our base, we'll use protein base. We'll sculpt the nails using Milky Pink and apply the following effects inside: Snowflakes 4, Mermaid Black and Pixel Emerald. We'll create the Babyboomer using nail art paste and finish it off with a mineral base in porcelain. We'll clean up the cuticles and the nail plate using bit number 9, and we'll build the nails with a double-sided gel brush in size 4 and then sprinkle the effects using the cuticle pusher, while our clamping tool will serve as a tool for ombre.
Our stylist will perform the design on her own nails because we've reached the limit of available models. So to make sure everything is clearly visible, she's putting on gloves. When we work on our own hands, there's no need to wear gloves for safety reasons, but you can, for example, use them to protect the nails of the right hand from getting scratched during filing.
Using bit number 9, we lift the cuticles and clean the nail plate of any dead skin. We do this in a sweep-push motion, working from right to left in the opposite direction to the rotation of the E-file. We then switch the rotation in the opposite direction and lift up the cuticles, angling our bit sideways. We work in this way only on the surface of the cuticles without touching the nail at a maximum of 15,000 rotations. We remove the excess nail dust with a soft brush and smooth the cuticles using a 180 gradation buffer. Our nail tech has very hard cuticles, hence the lower buffer gradation. If we were working on more delicate hands, we would probably use a gradation of 220. We attempt to fit the form. We have a deeply embedded nail plate here, so the form needs to be cut. We deepen the smile by 1 number and check the fit again. It's better now, but still far from perfect. The raised fingertips appear to be creating a strange shape at the free edge. In this case, we need to make certain cuts from the corners of the natural free edge towards what we call the indigo moustache lines on the form at about 45 degrees. We make cuts on both sides, and finally our form fits well under the free edge.
You must remember that a precisely fitted form is half the success of proper sculpting. By attaching the form in a sloppy manner, we're pretty much doomed for further mistakes.
We stick down the form, starting from the end and moving down towards the finger. Next, we need to set the form's angle. To do it right, imagine the end of the nail. It will be around the 3 mark. This point should be at the level of the cuticles and the natural free edge. As we have an almond shape, we close the form completely another 2-3 points down, depending on the width of the nail plate. Our nail tech has a relatively narrow, tiny nail plate, so we close the form off at the 5 mark. We apply an acid-free primer as if we were painting the nail with regular nail polish. We apply a drop of protein and rub it into the nail plate using gel brush number 4. Not too much, but so you can still see the file marks after matting. Cure for 60 seconds in the lamp. We apply a thin layer of Milky Pink, making a slip layer and creating a frame, holding our brush at a 45-degree angle. We work using gentle movements and don't dip the brush into the gel. We're now going to decorate the frame. Try not to sprinkle too close to the cuticles. Apply Snowflakes 4 to the uncured gel using brush number 4, and don't be stingy with these shiny flakes. And if that wasn't enough, we then add a sprinkle of Pixel Effect Emerald over the entire length of the frame, carefully so as not to cover the layer of cut foil. Thanks to all these effects becoming embedded, our bling bling charm will also be visible from underneath. It's best to use the cuticle pusher for sprinkling pixel. We then add a bit of Black Mermaid to give it some extra glam. Cure in the lamp for 60 seconds. The frame created with Milky Pink usually takes 30 seconds to cure, but in this case, the light has to penetrate the effects, so let's give it a little more time. In a careful motion, detach the frame from the form and pull it away. Using the cuticle pusher, tidy the cuticle area of sticky particles, so we don't flood them when we create our built layer. We apply a bit more of Milky Pink on 1/3 of the length of the entire nail, and in a pulsating motion, we push the gel under the cuticles, being careful not to touch them. Do not press the gel to the surface of the nail.
Milky Pink has the consistency of pudding or even jelly. If we want to move it, we have to work on the surface of the gel.
When we run out of the product, we reach for another portion and, in a zigzag-like way from the left to the right edge, fill up the entire length of the nail. We've spread the gel, now we work on the apex and upper arch. That is the line from the cuticles to the end of the free edge. Holding the brush vertically, perpendicular to the nail, gently dip the brush in the gel and, in a thread-like movement from top to bottom, move the gel along millimeter by millimeter, arranging it in a curve. Cure it in the lamp for 60 seconds. Wipe the entire surface of the nail with a cotton pad soaked in wipe-off. We then proceed to start filing with a 180 file. Angling the file parallel to the finger's axis, we make straight movements on both sides and then connect those lines, guiding the file along the arc. We turn our hand up to check if our shape hasn't skewed off in any direction. We can see that the nail is slightly off to the left. We fix it and move on to the next stage of filing. Time for a side view, the profile. Holding the file parallel to the finger axis, align the edge of the extended nail with the edge of the natural nail. They should be at the same height. We then slowly change the angle to about 45 degrees to form an arc. We do the same on the other side, filing so that both edges meet and are as symmetrical to each other as possible. We thin the gel in the cuticle area, holding the file at an angle of 45 degrees. Then, changing the angle of the file and keeping it flat, we move to filing the apex and the upper arch. Remember to follow the rule. The apex, the highest point of the extended nail, should be approximately 1/3 to 1/2 of the length of the entire nail. Next, we connect the nail ridge with the side edges, not forgetting to smooth the product at the cuticles. We keep our movements directed from the center of the nail to the outer side. Take your time, it's better to work at a slower pace and not file away too much material. The last element to file is the hairline. We hold the file flat and thin the product without lifting the file away from the nail surface. The thickness of the hairline in salon designs is the maximum thickness of a credit card, around 0.8 mm. Dust off the surface with a brush and in a moment we can start decorating. Now, the nails at this stage can already be covered with a top coat of Tip Top and we could let our client go home.
We, on the other hand, continue the work because we've envisioned princess nails with the addition of Babyboomer.
The first step in Babyboomer is always to smooth the surface as much as possible. Remember that each tiny scratch will be visible on the cured gel. This is because when creating Babyboomer, we don't cover the nail with color, we press it into the surface. We prepare our ombre tool, our trusty sponge and the self-clamping tool. We cut the sponge into a thin, long strip, as long as the nail but a lot thinner so as not to dirty the cuticles. With the help of our size 4 double-sided brush, using the cut tip, pick up some nail art paste and apply it to the tip of the nail. We blot the paste with the sponge so that it soaks up the product. And in a gentle tapping motion, blot the product into the free edge, moving from left to right. We stop about mid-length of the extended nail. Ideally, there should be white gel on 1/3 of the length, shading on 1/3 and 1/3 base.
Before we cure the first layer, we check whether we have spread it well. In the Babyboomer, as well as in ombre, we want to achieve a smooth tonal transition.
If we can see the cutoff line, even partly, we need to correct it before putting our hand in the lamp, as once it's cured, it will not be fixable. If air bubbles appear during blending, it means there's too much product. So what then? You need to squeeze out the sponge on a dry, dust-free cotton pad first and then blend again. The sponge will then collect any excess product. Cure in the lamp for 15 seconds. We apply the second layer of the product, this time placing it slightly lower than our first one and using less of the product. This will make it easier for us to achieve a smooth transition. We blot the sponge from left to right, from the free edge towards the cuticles. Before curing, we check for any visible cutoff lines. If there aren't any, we put our hand in the lamp for 15 seconds.
If this was a design with a plain base, we could end Babyboomer now. But we're working on a shimmering, multicolored base, therefore we will apply one more coat of nail art paste to achieve a smooth transition and to avoid gaps at the tip.
Again, picking up less product than before, we blot from left to right, from the free edge towards the cuticles, stopping a little lower than last time. We cure for 15 seconds in the lamp. We've achieved a satisfying amount of coverage. It's time to squeeze out our sponge, which won't add any coverage, but will give the already created ombre an even smoother tonal transition. The sponge squeeze is nothing more than a repeat of our blotting blending movements without adding more product. We use just what's left on the sponge. We will waste nothing. Now we can cure the entire design for 30 to 60 seconds depending on the power of the lamp. With the Indigo lamp, 30 seconds is enough, but if you're not sure, cure it for 60 seconds, just in case. It's time to finish off the nails as a top coat, mineral base in porcelain, which has a cool shade of pink. It gives Babyboomer an even stronger nudie look.
On the other hand, if we would like to highlight the cleanliness of the tip, we could use a Pro White top coat, which contains UV factors and visually strikes the whiteness on the nails.
Something very important. When finishing the nails with the porcelain mineral base, avoid any massaging motion. We run the brush over smoothly as if in the air. Remember that the mineral base, which is a base, color and top coat all in one, needs to be cured a little longer than the traditional glossy top coat. It's because it contains pigment and needs a bit more time to polymerize in full. We cure it for a minimum of 60 seconds, and thanks to this, the base will shine beautifully. After we remove our hand from the lamp, wait a minute for the base to cool down, wipe the surface off with a dust-free cotton pad soaked in Super Shine Cleaner. We make sure to remove the dispersion layer properly and change the pad every second or third nail. And voila, our design is ready! We can compare the princess nails to those without Babyboomer and with an extra layer of white paste. So, which do you like more? Nails that shine in all their splendor, or the more subtle ones, the shine of which comes through from under the milky ombre?
And that's it for today's episode. Let us know in the comments if you'd like to see more tutorials on effects built into nails. I'll see you next time.